The Elements of Harmony and Save Your Worlds by Arcade Striker 5. Chapter 2. Mom, Michelle's making weird faces at me. A groan threatened to erupt from Megan Richards' throat as he turned to face her two daughters at the kitchen table. Danielle, you're going to the University of Kentucky next year. I think you're old enough to deal with Michelle sticking her tongue out at you. She placed her hands on her hips and looked down at her blonde-haired daughter. Now make nice. Danielle, the older, and a high school senior with dark hair, brown eyes, and a perpetually squinty look, met Megan's stare for a moment, before turning to look to her sister and growling. I'm sorry for it. Overreacting to your tongue sticking out. She looked back down at her plate and began shoveling bacon and eggs into her mouth. Michelle, 7 years younger, with lighter hair and a ribbon clipped to her braid, shrugged. Sure, Science, and I'll make sure not to frighten you with the evil eye ever again, she said, smirking. Megan rolled her eyes and turned back to the stove, muttering to herself. She grabbed a spatula and, with a smirk, twirled it around in her hand before flipping a pancake over. Still got it? She whispered to herself. The sound of heavy boots traveling across the kitchen floor caught her attention, and she looked over her shoulder. About time you got here, she said, grinning as her husband walked up. Mike Richards walked up behind Megan and wrapped his arms around her stomach, giving her a quick peck on the cheek. Sorry, just had to make sure I had everything. He pulled away and hefted a tool belt and pulled down the hard hat resting on his black hair. I'll be home early today. Is Daniel still coming over for dinner? He asked. Megan nodded, her throat constricting for a moment. She caught to her hand and grunted before speaking. No way he'll miss out on my famous meatloaf, she said dryly. She looked at Mike over and sighed. Let's be careful, right? She waved him off as he rolled his eyes. Oh, you know I always worry about you on the side, just like you worry about me on the ranch, Megan said. Mike chuckled and kissed his Megan again, lingering longer before pulling away. Hey, I'm the boss, he said, before turning and walking over to the table. He dropped his tool belt to the floor, sat down, and looked at Danielle and Mitchell. You two ready for school? Homework all set? Danielle nodded. Yeah, Dad. Report's coming fine, and all the rest of my stuff is fine. She took another bite of breakfast before glaring at Michelle from the corner of her eyes. If only someone didn't hog the computer so much, my report might be done. Michelle rolled her eyes. Oh, you had no problem in your bathroom time in the shower, did you? She looked about her mother, and father looked at her. Well, she slumped down to her chair and crossed her arms. Okay. No more hogging of the computer. I'll be good. Megan nodded. Good. She looked at Danielle. And no more hogging of the bathroom either. Danielle swallowed her bacon hard, coughing. Her eyes watered as she fumbled for a water glass. Danielle took a long gulped sip of water. Okay, she gasped out. Mike patted her on the shoulder. You all right? At her nod, he resumed eating, keeping a wary eye on his daughter. The rest of the time passed idly for the family as they ate breakfast, chatting a bit about their upcoming day. Mike soon grabbed his tool belt and cleared his spot at the table, followed by Danielle, Michelle, and Megan. Megan walked with them through the living room to the front door, Danielle and Michelle with their school bags, and Mike hefting his tool belt over his shoulder. A yellow school bus pulled up, and the two teenagers boarded, pausing and waving sheepishly to their parents as they blew kisses at them before the bus pulled off. Mike turned to Megan and kissed his wife on the cheek. Any plans for today? He asked, brow furrowing slightly. Megan shrugged and paced a bit on the front steps, organizing her thoughts before speaking. Well, I've got the day off from the ranch and no real errands to run, so I figured I'd indulge my publisher by getting started on the next book. She rolled her eyes and looked at the clear blue sky. Lord knows everyone's waiting with bated breath for the next installment of My Little Horsey. Her husband shrugged, and his lips quirked into a small grin. Well, I don't know. I can't wait to see what happens to Firefly when the Sky Clans from the Peaks come down to pass judgment on her. He leaned in and kissed her again, this time a bit deeper before pulling away. Love ya! He half shouted over his shoulder. Megan blew him a kiss and waved as he hopped up onto the cab of a battered old pickup and drove off. Love you too. she said, before turning around to face her house. She let out a sigh and her shoulders slumped. A full 30 seconds passed before Megan stepped back into the house, closing the door behind. She went to the kitchen and poured herself a glass of orange juice, gulping it down before walking back into the living room. She made a sharp right, walking up a steep flight of stairs and down a short hallway into the bedroom she and Mike shared. Inside, Megan turned on the computer and opened the walk-in closet, pulling out a battered old trunk. She snapped open the clasp, and the trunk opened with a tight tug. Megan reached inside and pulled out a bright red feather that seemed to glow with an inner fire, and a golden horseshoe. Megan's fingers pressed against the photo album with a stylized horse head, a deep leather binding before closing her eyes, settling back. Megan played with the pages and looked at some of the photos, but ultimately set it back inside the trunk. Not Niall, she said to herself before grabbing the feather and sitting down at the desk. Practiced fingers pulled at the word file, and Megan immersed herself in old memories. Heartthrobbing Firefly marveled as waves of Pegasus ponies flew overhead, dancing in the sky in complicated patterns. A few of them down to the two ponies, coming in a few feet before pulling to the sky. Wow! Firefly exclaimed, eyes wide. She looked across her withers and back to her own Pegasus wings and unfurled them. I never knew there were so many of us in the Sky Clans. Heartthrob pawed at the ground. Be careful, she said, ducking out of instinct as a few more dumped them. We don't know how they'll react to a Pegasus who was raised on the ground such as yourself. Firefly stomped on the rocky ground. Well, did he try anything? Well, let him have it, she shouted, rearing back and kicking her forelegs into the air. One of the larger Pegasi landed, a stallion with a bright red cloak and a scar down across his right eye. He batted his wings a few times before trotting over to the two mares. I am Bloodwing, head of the Sky Clans, he said, his head bucked up, slightly at the Pegasus still overhead. All who fly at my command. He looked down at BOOM! A sudden boom shook the house, rattling the windows, the walls, to the very foundation, causing Megan to nearly jump out of the chair. She stood up and looked around, eyes wide and heart hammering in her chest. What the hell? She stepped away, but turned back and clicked on the mouse, saving the file before running downstairs and out the front door. This, folks, is why I use Google Docs. Instant saving and makes sure you have a nice, clean, even place. So she looked around, then up, and then stopped, eyes widening at a sight straight out of her path. An opaque ribbon of rainbow stretched across the sky, starting about 20 feet above her house and quickly diving into her backyard. She reared back and rubbed her forehead, leaning against the railing for support. This is not happening. This is not happening. This is not. It's happening. Megan abruptly stopped and ran through the house to the backyard. She skated to a halt on the deck as she looked down at the backyard. Sometimes it's the things you least expect to happen that show up out of the blue, Megan thought to herself as she stared at the bright blue Pegasus pony with rainbow-colored mane and tail, wobbling only a few feet away from where she stood. A purple unicorn stood a few feet farther back, dazed out but vertical. A small purple dragon with green fringe wobbled right next to her, scales somewhat blackened out but otherwise all right. Memories of a similar dragon crowded her mind, but she pushed them away. Not now. Assess the situation. Information is vital. Megan knelt down to look the Pegasus in the eye. Are you alright? She asked, eyes widening slightly. The Pegasus met her eyes and smiled. Never better. Oh, she said before her own eyes crossed and she kneeled over. Her body made an impressive thump as it hit the grass. Megan knelt down and checked the Pegasus for broken bones. She hovered over her head and peeled open a knife to check for dilation, but looked back as the Pegasus moved her head and shot to her face. Hey! What's the big idea? She half shouted, seconds before stumbling around a bit. Oh, why is the world spinning and why am I hallucinating? Megan held out a hand. You're not hallucinating, and the world's just fine. It's probably your head. She placed a hand on her chest, right above where her jacket zipper lay. My name's Megan, she said, smiling. What's yours? Rainbow Dash, sir. The Pegasus growled out, leaning back. She glanced away. Thanks for checking on me like that. She suddenly arched an eyebrow and hopped up. wings flapping. She hovered at eye level with Megan across the forelegs. Des's head bobbed up and down as he looked Megan over. So, what are you? Some sort of clothes-wearing ape? A voice from behind caught both Megan and Das's attention. If you two are finished... They turned to the unicorn and dragon. The unicorn coughed into a hoof and extended. My name is Twilight Sparkle, and this is my assistant friend Spike, she said, sweeping to the dragon. Twilight's mouth opened slightly, and her eyes widened as he saw her friend. Oh, Spike! Are you all right? Spike looked himself over and brushed his scales. The black brushed off, revealing intense scales underneath. I think I'm all right. He flashed Twilight a grin and thumbs up. Thanks for the warning this time. He trailed off and glanced up at Megan out of the corner of his eye. Sup? Megan dropped to her knees and stared at the young dragon, mouth over the top. Spike? She swallowed and took in a deep breath. Are there any other dragons named Spike where you come from? She asked, running a shaking hand through her hair. I mean, just out of curiosity. Spike eyed her and took a few steps back behind Twilight, peering out at Megan over her loin and hip. She's a bit creepy, he half whispered into her ear. His head darted about the backyard. And where are we? You're in the back part of my house, she replied. She edged forward. So, what is it? The smooze? The what? Spike asked. He looked at Twilight. What's smooze? Twilight's brow furrowed. Well, if I remember, it's from a long time ago. It's an ooze that envelops you and eats you, consuming your soul. She looked to Megan and jabbed her hoof at her. How do you know that? Megan opened her mouth but quickly closed it. Well, that's not too important, is it? She chuckled nervously, then looked beyond Twilight and Spike. That, however, is important at the moment. Twilight looked around and quickly spotlight the seemingly solidified rainbow. She craned her head and neck up, finally cantering back and winging. What the heck is that? She exclaimed. She went to Das and jabbed her hoof in Rainbow's direction. Did you do that? Did I do that? She let loose a growl and remained to Spark. What did we do? Das shrugged. Hey, if I know. She tried over to the bottom of the rainbow and reached out a foreleg, tentatively striking it. The rainbow shuddered lightly, but remained intact. The Pegasus looked back at the other three and shrugged. I got nothing. How about you? Twilight scratched her forehead with her hoof, and the eye twitched. A few strands of her hair from her mane suddenly stood up. Oh, my teleportation's never done this before! She paced a bit, eyes turned to the ground. She looked at Das. How fast were you going when you reached this balloon? I think I was entering Sonic Reboot territory, Das responded. She looked back up and squinted. Hey, what's that? She asked, pointing to the end of the rainbow and a jagged tear in the sky. Is that a... Did I punch a hole in the sky? She suddenly thrust a foreleg in the air. I did! I am so awesome! Nothing can slow me down! There was a half-minute of silence before Twilight chuckled. Well... She went to Megan. Listen, thanks for checking on my friend. I'd love to stay and do some major research into wherever this place is and swap life stories. But there's a dragon loose in the Everfree Forest that could come charging into Ponyfield any second! She went to the hole and furrowed her eyebrows in concentration. I think... Yes! Twilight's sword glowed. I can teleport us all through there and back to the other side. Megan's eyes widened slightly. A dragon? She growled softly, balled her hand to the fist, smashing into the palm of her other hand. Don't worry, Twilight. I'll help. And with that, she turned and ran back into the home. Give me 5 minutes! Dan looked back at Twilight over her shoulder as Megan disappeared in the house. What just happened? Spike shook his head. I don't know, but she's weird, Twilight. I mean, she acts like she knows all this stuff, but she's not telling us anything, and she just wants to rush off and help us against the dragon. He looked back to the house. Think we should get out of here while she's inside? Twilight bit her lower lip and shook her head. No, Spike. There is something weird here, and I want more information from her. Besides, she looked up at the rainbow and the hole heading back home. This dragon's a whole lot meaner than the last one. We'll need all the help we can get. Megan ran inside to her bedroom, grabbed a pair of knee-high work boots and pulled them on, followed by a coat from the closet and a pair of leather gloves with skin-resistant palms. Megan grabbed a backpack and, with a bit of hesitation, grabbed a photo album from the trunk and slid it in. She stopped at a gun safe set in the corner of the room and unlocked it, pulling out a bandolier of .44 caliber shells and clenching it diagonally around her chest. She pulled out a Maryland model 1894 rifle and checked the chamber before slinging it over her shoulder. Vic, please, I beg you. I know it's physically impossible, but please let Megan dual-wield shotguns just this once! Megan took a moment to check herself over in the mirror, letting old memories wash over her. Once more into the breach, she quoted before heading back downstairs. Once in the kitchen, she grabbed a few more supplies and stuffed them in her backpack. She paused at her cell phone and then shrugged, unplugging for the recharging code. Maybe they have a cell tower in Paradise Estate. Megan quit, before laughing and smiling. The expression fell away and clutched the phone. Why don't they know me? She wondered out loud, glancing at the door leading outside. She peered through the glass at the unicorn, Pegasus the dragon, feeling her heartstrings tug in different directions. Has it really been that long for them? Megan shook her head. No questions later. Dragon to stop now! She slid the cell phone into her coat and picked up a pen and piece of paper. She scribbled a half note her family before hanging it from the refrigerator. Dear Mike, Danielle, and Michelle, if you're reading this, then I'm still gone. I don't have time to explain, but some old friends need my help. Call Danny or Molly for the full story. Tell them I've gone back. They'll understand. Love, Megan. Satisfied, Megan stepped outside to find the three huddled together. Sorry, she said, walking over. Just a few things to take care of at gate. She pasted a smile on her face. Always gotta be prepared, after all. Twilight nodded, but kept her eyes on Megan. Just so you know, we are going to sit down after this and have a long talk, Unicorn said. Twilight looked Megan over, cocking an eyebrow. Also, you better kneel down. The top of my horn only goes up to the bottom of your mammary glands, and I don't want only the bottom half of you showing up in Ponyville. Megan blushed slightly, but knelt beside Twilight, Rainbow, and Spike, huddled close to the unicorn too. Twilight's horn glowed, and the unicorn's eyes screwed shut. A wind picked up before all four beings were enveloped in a bright flash of light. When it faded, all four had vanished from sight. The world around Megan, Chapter 3. The world around Megan wobbled for a bit, before it snapped back into footage. She looked up at the blue sky. Is it safe? She asked. Twilight panted slightly and dropped down to her haunches. Safe, she panted out. Phew, I didn't know it'd be that difficult. Megan stood up, looked around and drank in the scenery. A dark forest almost out of a fairy tale stood out of her right. Her gaze drifted along a mountain ridge far into the distance, finally settling into an indistinct city into cliffside. What is that? She asked, her arm and hand raising almost involuntarily as she pointed. Twilight followed her gaze and drew herself up. That is Camelot, our capital. The princesses lived there, and when... She leaned forward when she saw Megan's expression. Are you all right? You seem a bit shocked. It's just so bigger than I remember. Big! Megan looked around over her shoulder and saw a group of ponies standing at the edge of a small town. She cleared her throat and held her arms. Ahem! Hello! My name is Megan. A dull pink earth pony with a straight mane suddenly leaped up to her air, gasping. Sorry. Her coat suddenly brightened, and her mane expanded, not like a balloon. She ran out of Daz and tackled her, throwing her forelegs around the Pegasus' neck and crest. Oh, Cassie! She exclaimed. I'm so glad you're all right and not incinerated by the mean old dragon. Daz grunted and pushed her forelegs. Pinky, get off of me! She half shouted. Her half-hearted struggles immediately died down. Oh, thanks, she finally said. Pinkie Pie hopped over to Twilight, wrapping her forelegs around the violet unicorn's neck, and squealing so hard she turned dark purple. You like too! She hopped over to Spike, and then finally jumped at Megan. She grabbed onto Megan's neck, forcing her to hold out her arms in order to support the Earth Pony's body. And I'm really glad to see you, she said, planting a kiss on Megan's cheek. Just one problem, though. Megan stared at the pony in her arms. leaning back and arching an eyebrow. Why is... Pinkie Pie craned her neck, almost 180 degrees. Who are you? Her head straightened out as she rubbed her chin with a hoof. I know every pony, and I mean every pony in Ponyville, so I know you're not from Ponyville. Then again, you're not a pony, are you? She twisted her hips around. Are you from outer space? Or inner space? Or medium space? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. She threw her forelegs up into the air. A confetti and streamers started raining down from somewhere. You're near town, so that means burn! She sighed, grinning. Megan swallowed and nodded, looking around. Oh, yeah, that's great. Really, really. She trailed off as a streamer fell on her head and over her face. She blew on it several times before it flapped up. How the hell did you do that? Pinkie Pie jumped out as a white unicorn and a yellow Pegasus ran up, embracing Twilight, Spike, and Dash in a series of complicated hugs and exchanges. The unicorn kissed Spike's head slightly on the cheek, and the dragon fell back, swooning as his face burned red. Spike, I am rather glad you're all right, she said, batting mascara outlined eyeglasses at him. Slowly, she looked up at Megan and smiled. Darling, I don't know who or... Well, I am, fizzed Megan, winking at her. I concede, she said, blushing slightly. But still, thank you for helping my friends. She looked over her. Perhaps a new set of clothes when this is over. Flexible but also fashionable. Twilight looked up to Megan's side. Megan, you met Pinkie Pie, she said, pointing to the pink pony, now balancing a tray of cupcakes and muffins on her wild mane. She pointed to the unicorn. That's Rarity. She motioned to the Pegasus hiding behind Rainbow Dash. That's Fluttershy, who is... She groaned. Fluttershy, it's all right. She cleared her throat. Everyone, this is Megan from... somewhere. She suddenly looked around. Hey, where's Applejack? Fluttershy hopped out from behind Dash and looked to the ground. She ran over to the evergreen forest when she thought that you three were... She hiccuped, and tears began streaming down her cheek. Dash leaned in close and rested her head and neck over Fluttershy's neck. Hey, she said softly. It's all right, Fluttershy. We're all right. She bent down and looked down into Fluttershy's eyes, reaching out and tilting her friends up to with a hoof to her chin. Now, come on. Did you really think some dragon could take out the best flyer in Cloudsdale? Twilight, meanwhile, looked at the dark and foreboding forest looming before her. Applejack went in there? Is she out of her pony-picking mind? She wheeled about. What's she thinking going into the evergreen forest? She sat to the side of her head. Applejack, come on in! She suddenly felt the top of her head. Oh, sweet Celestia, the headset's gone! It wouldn't matter, Randy replied, pointing to the headset nestled toppling on her expertly coiffed mane. We all thought you were dead, Randy said, holding up a still dirty hoof. And we all reacted somewhat differently. I think Applejack said something about going to kill the dragon, but we were all too much shocked over what happened to you. She asked an eyebrow. What did happen? Twilight shook her head. No time to explain now. She looked up at Megan. Are you all right? Megan swallowed and wiped her brow, knowing the sweat on her hand. I'm fine. Just fine. She cast out, forcing a smile. Not the Applejack I know. Can't be. But whatever it is. A Cloudsdale? They were just... I assume this is the same dragon you were talking about back at my house? Twilight nodded. Yeah. She looked around, glancing up. She suddenly trotted back, eyes wide. Whoa! She looked at Rainbow Dash and tell her hoof to the air. Rainbow Dash! Remember when you hit the sonic ray boom? Dash nodded. Of course. Alright, fly up and see what's there. Megan looked up, following the direction of Twilight's hoof as the Sign Pegasus flapped her wings and flew up. She gasped as she saw a thin black line across the sky. Megan slowly backpedaled, keeping her eyes on the sky. It's a hole! Dash stopped in midair before the two tear in space. Yeah, you're right! She pumped her hooves in the air. I punched a hole in the sky! Wonderbolts have to let me in now once I dust it for them in the gala. Twilight shook her head. My teleportation and your supersonic speed simultaneously ripped a hole from Equestria too. She suddenly stopped, shook her head, and stomped the ground. We don't have time for needless exposition! She looked around. Okay, everyone, gather around. Rarity, Spike, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie all gathered around in a semicircle, while Rainbow Dash slowed down and Megan stepped forward. Megan reached behind and pulled the revel slung over her shoulder, up and over. Listen to get Applejack, she said, grinning from ear to ear. Okay, we got... Twilight continued speaking as the ponies and Spike stood there. Alright, now, Rainbow Dash, you go in there and find Applejack. Maybe we need to split into teams and go get our friend. We better stick together and keep low to the... Twilight looked up and Megan looked down. Two eyes looking at each other. What are you doing? Twilight asked, the bottom of her right eye twisting. Megan let go of her rifle with her right hand, letting the butt pad hit the dirt and she held it to the barrel of her right. I'm trying to organize a retrieval mission into what seems to be a dense and dangerous forest to get a friend back who may be trying to kill a dragon. She leaned forward, looking down at Twilight. Twilight glared right back up, meeting Megan's stare. I'm trying to do the same thing. Through a forest I've been through a few times already, with friends inside who might have been able to head off Applejack in the first place, and why do you wince every time someone says her name? She rose up on her hind legs, biting her hose onto Megan's shoulder, and drawing herself up to it, here and down. Why? Megan looked away. I promise when we find her, I'll tell you. She stood up straight, striking out Twilight's hooves. She spun around on her heels and faced the evergreen forest. So, you've been here before? At Twilight's night, she sighed. So, stick together again? Twilight nodded. She looked at everyone. Dash, take point, but keep it sight of us. Piggy Pie, you're next. Keep your piggy sense honed, she said, muttering the last few words. Fluttershy, you're next. Then me and Spike, Rarity, and finally Megan. She looked to the young dragon. But first, I better write a letter to the princess, asking for backup. This dragon might be more than we can handle. She tried forward, lowered her head, butting against Spike and pushing forward. To the library! Megan shouted after her. Can't you wait until I have to link it? She trailed off as the unicorn and dragon suddenly vanished in a ball of light. Darn it. She sighed, kicking into the dirt. Rarity looked at the other ponies still there. What precisely just happened? Rainbow dashed over her mouth, closed it, and unfurled her wings, jumping up and hovering at the ground. I got nothing. This has been one of the most random afternoons I've had in a while. She went to Pinky as he was bouncing about. And trust me, Rarity, that's saying something. Megan looked at her rifle back up and began sliding cartridges out from a bandolier around her chest and loading them into the magazine, one at a time. She glanced down at Fluttershy, face half covered by her pink bangs. She slid the safety on and knelt down to one knee, holding out her free hand, smiling. Hello there. Nice to meet you, Fluttershy. Don't worry, we'll get Applejack back. Fluttershy extended a foreleg and laid it against the palm of Megan's hand. Oh, I know. That is, if you don't mind me saying so. She ducked her head down, Megan almost magically wrapping around her face. If I may ask, Megan, what is that stick that you're loading metal bits into? Megan hesitated before reaching over and grabbing the butt of the rifle and holding it up. This is called a rifle, Fluttershy. I'm putting little containers called cartridges that have an explosive power in them. When they're stuck on the end, the power ignites and sends a smaller bit of metal called a bullet out the tube. She looked down. It's a weapon, yes. The Pegasus stepped forward and leaned back on her haunches, holding out both forelegs. May I examine your teeth? Is this all right? I know it's an all-out request, but it would help tremendously. There was a pause before Megan lowered her rifle and opened her mouth. Fluttershy peered in, pushing her lips inside. Ah! Molars for grinding and incisors and canine teeth all in one mouth. She let go and nodded, smiling. You're a omnivore. That explains quite a bit. Rarity walked over, with Rainbow Dash hovering about, and Pinkie Pie bouncing around. She tilted her head to the side and narrowed her eyes. The clothes are nice for off the rack, but really, Megan, wouldn't you want something for more pizzazz? A bit more glamour and a bit more in the way of haute couture? Rainbow Dash hovered over Megan's shoulder. Listen to her. She might go overboard on the gems, but if Rarity makes you clothing, it's top notch and makes you look awesome. She fluttered around a bit, staying above her shoulders. Although, you look more like you'd be pretty comfortable about Applejack's cousin. Braver in it. I ain't a Palooza! Why did I do that? Tradition. Rarity batted her eyes in Dash's direction and smiled. Why, thank you, Rainbow Dash. She placed the hoof on her chest. I created works of art for each of my friends to wear for the upcoming Grand Gala Gala Cantalot. Hopefully, this little nonsense to the dragon will spark the festivities. At the mention of Cantalot, Megan stood and turned, staring off at the far-off city built to the mountainside. And it's the capital now? When was it made the capital? Dash shrugged. Darn if I know. She flew around to look Megan in the eye. Why? Because what happened to Paradise Estate? No reason. Spike groaned as he appeared in the library with a flash of light. Twilight beside him. What did I say about warning me next time? He said, wobbling on his legs. He shook his head. It couldn't just wait until after we got Applejack? He groused. Twilight shook her head, and Horn glowed. A roll of parchment and quill floated over Spike. Sorry, Spike, but I didn't have time to run here, and I wanted to let the Princess Celestia know we'll be needing some backup considering the dragon. She tried over to a window and looked out. And I need to let her know about Megan. Spike unrolled the parchment and took the quill in hand. She's a bit odd, but really, Twilight, she wants to help us, and she's pretty friendly, too. Twilight's head drooped. Be that as may, that hold in space and her wanting to come back so strongly is rather suspicious. Besides, you've seen how she reacted to your name, not to mention Applejack's. She cleared her throat. Dear Princess Celestia, I regret to report that the dragon in Everfree Forest has proven most hostile, nearly killing Spike, our friend Rainbow Dash, and myself. Unfortunately, we will need help in dealing with him. Also, a hole in space was created by Rainbow Dash's attempted rescue, leading to seems to be another world. Twilight paused and collected her thoughts before continuing. We encountered a creature named Megan, a biped wearing clothes. She's come back with us to help find Applejack in the Everfree Forest, and she closed her eyes. And I remembered something about her. But at the same time, I don't. She stopped the ground and snored. Why can't I remember? Spike looked up. Want me to write that last sentence down? Spike glanced over and narrowed her eyes. Spike! She sighed. If you know anything about concerning her, please let me know. Your faithful student, Twilight Sparkle. Spike rolled up the parchment and held it in his hand. He snorted and blew out a bout of green flame. The magic enhanced fire enveloped the roll and vanished, leaving behind a simple wisp of smoke that drifted out into Canterlot. Now can we go? We could have found Applejack 5 times by now! Twilight shook her head. Applejack's one of the fastest of us on uneven ground, and there were things we had to do before heading in. She should be fine. She went to the door and exited. Now come on, Spike, let's go! Spike hopped off to her back, and Twilight got into the Everfree Forest. She found Megan there, surrounded by her friends and staring out to Canterlot. No reason, she mumbled. No reason for what? Twilight asked. Megan blinked and looked down. She swallowed most of the Canterlot. Just admiring your capital, Twilight. She headed to the stick and turned on her foot to face the Everfree Forest. Ready? Twilight plodded forward. Ready, Megan. Dash, you ready? Dash started to bust it out. About time! She said before leading her body forward and flying past the undergrowth into the Everfree Forest proper. Pinkie Pie followed, bouncing along. She suddenly paused, and her entire body began shaking. This is gonna be a big one, she said, twisting her head to look at Pinkie and Megan and Twilight. Can't wait! With that, she bounded past the bushes. Fluttershy followed, with Rarity next. Twilight glanced up at Megan as she walked through the forest with Spike on her back. Thanks for coming to help, she said. After this, though, I've got some questions for you. Megan nodded as she stepped through the small bush, glancing around. I have some, too, although time might be short. She held her wrist and looked down at the small band wrapped around it. My daughters will be home in about 6 hours, and my husband soon after. She chuckled and scratched the back of her neck. Although, explaining the rainbow in the hole. Spike chuckled. I'm guessing a hole in the sky is not exactly common around where you live. Megan rolled her eyes. Not usually, Spat. Most of the time it's holes in socks or holes in the ground, not holes in the sky. Would you like me to talk to him when I teleport you back? Twilight asked. She tucked the low-hanging branch. It could be very educational, at least. Spike slapped his forehead. Always thinking your brain, Twilight. Why can't you think with your stomach for a change? Megan half grinned at the young dragon as they kept pace with the other ponies. I appreciate that, Twilight. Thanks. Twilight paused. The least I could do for a friend.